right, welcome to another episode of Traffic Jam Sessions. My name is Chris. I'm just a normal guy on my way to work, dealing with traffic. I figure let's make the most of it. Let's answer a question. The question of the day today is pro wrestling just a soap opera for men? Okay. And this is not to disparage fans of pro wrestling or, people that follow it or whatever. That's not my intent at all. But I do believe that pro wrestling is a soap opera directed at men, and I'll kind of explain. Soap operas go back to the radio days of the 1930s, okay? Back in those days, in 30s, 40s, 50s, back in those days, society was very different. There were way fewer women in the workplace, and so these kind of serialized dramas came out, first on radio and then on TV a couple decades later. They were often sponsored by companies that do cleaning products, like Procter and Gamble, Colgate, Palmolive, or whatever. You know, they invent this drama that people listening to it would get hooked on it, and they'd just be on the edge of their seat, wanting to know what's happening the next day. And it just went on and on and on. But they were heavily sponsored by these companies. So anyone that was interested in this drama and followed it, uh, they have to view or hear the commercials. It was really a big marketing ploy back in those days for dish soap and laundry detergent and whatever it might have been. So that's where the name soap opera comes from. And as time has gone on, companies realize that there are other markets they can move this into. Okay, now pro wrestling, of course, is wildly different than your basic soap opera, and everybody knows that. Everybody would agree. But they also, they wanted to put something together that appealed to men, right? So we've got these scripted dramas with these big guys beating the crap out of each other, often on live television, and it has a huge following, But the point of this is that they are scripted dramas, you know. Every match is fixed, you know. The winner is predetermined and all that stuff. And I don't think everyone realizes that, to be honest, or at least didn't for a long time, And the guys on pro wrestling are athletic, guys and girls, athletic. They pull off some crazy stunts. They often get injured. They're doing athletic things out there, but the outcome is predetermined no matter what, you know. Maybe they might have to change something on the fly if somebody got hurt or somebody couldn't appear or something like that, and I get that. But these things, they're not really sports, It's not really a sport because there's no rooting for a certain contender because that contender may be scripted to lose that week. You know what I mean? Just things like that. So for that reason, I don't really think it's a sport. It's not a sport in the ring like even boxing or MMA would be, because those are fighters contending to win, and you don't know who's going to win, But pro wrestling is a lot different, and these characters go through all this development and all these different things, as the series goes on. But it is scripted. It is a drama. It's very different than a soap opera, of years past that's geared at women. But it really is a soap opera when you think about it. And again, it's not to make anybody mad who's a fan of wrestling, but that's really what it is, And the women's soap operas were sponsored by the cleaning product companies. The men's are sponsored by, FanDuel and Slim Jim and Bud Light and, just stuff that appeals more to men. So it's really all marketing when you think about it. Most things on TV are, but wrestling is definitely a soap opera geared at men. So if you agree with me, great. If you don't, great. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think, and we'll answer another question next time.